Here's Gilfetter again, turning the ball inside to Ashton, then to Wigan clubmate Boston, whom Irvine cannot hold by one leg. Early Boston fends beaters out of the way, beats a diving tackle by Summons to score in the corner.
Great Britain putting plenty of pressure on here. Powell, away it comes. Clark throws the dummy. He's gone straight through, and Clark will score.
What memories that tour brings back for you, because that second test, it was one of them standout performances from Great Britain, and you was at the helm. Special memories, Mal.
Yeah, they were. We knew we had to perform on the day because Australia, obviously, they've got an exceptional side. But I think our confidence as we came down from Darwin, Rockhampton, Townsville, through Brisbane, our confidence grew and we believed in ourselves. And I think that psychological aspect of the game is very important. You can physically train as much as you like, but if you don't believe, you can't do it, you won't do it. And we had a lot of self-belief and it paid dividends.
You certainly did, Mal. Well, you could see, I actually skipped off work to watch that test with my dad. I went up to his house and watched it. I was supposed to be at work and it was just amazing. You lost the first test, but you obviously got them really pumped up for that. I just remember they just went out, they were like men possessed.
Yeah, there was a lot went off just prior to leaving the dressing room, and everyone, the determination of the squad was immense. And it didn't surprise me that we performed like we did, but it took a lot of other people by surprise, I think. And anyway, we did the job.
Certainly did. Phil, I just want to bring you in if I can. I'll speak to you about the game as well, but just your memories of Mal as a coach. He's obviously a legend of the game as a player and a coach.
First, before I answer that, I could never imagine when I went to watch Great Britain play Australia in 1982, I sat on the wall at Central Park, that 10 years later I get the chance to be a Lion and go and play down under in Australia. So I've been very, very lucky in life, and that 10-year decade from 82 to 92 was one of those. I also grew up knowing so much about the Lions. In my house, my father went on the 1966 tour, and we had a long tour photograph which was on the dining room wall for the first 20 years of my life. So subliminally, I guess, there was the Lion spirit. I heard stories from time to time, wasn't talked about all the time, but I did have an appreciation, and there was, I suppose in the back of my mind there was an excitement about possibly going to play rugby league down under with the national side and in that. So that was certainly the pinnacle of my career, the time in there. You asked about Malcolm as a coach. There's many stories that people could tell, but I think this probably summarises it quickest. In Papua New Guinea, there isn't a great deal to do at night. We're in Papua New Guinea for a few weeks before we got to Australia, so you have to sort of make your own entertainment at night. And it was decided that there'd be a sit-up competition. I didn't enter it, I went like crazy because I knew this would get silly. And a player called Kelvin Skerritt, he had a number 8 on that shirt. Kelvin, who I've got a lot of respect for, was a great player. He entered this sit-up competition and he did 300, which is an amazing achievement, and nobody thought that could be beaten. And then Malcolm went next, and he did 500. And when he stood up, it was like blood on his back. It was that bad, really, the pain. But the reason I tell that story is because his spirit, Malcolm led from the front, both physically and mentally. And you knew that you had to push yourself. Or, I don't know, he didn't force you, but he took you along on a journey with him, really. You wanted to push yourself to the ultimate point of that your body could take you to try and get the result that we're all striving for. So Malcolm had the passion, but he also had the rugby intelligence, I think, to put players in the right position. And you were right, in the first test you might have saw Martin Fine missed a couple of opportunities to score, but we knew, even though we'd lost by 22 points to 6, we were closer than what that final scoreline had been. And I think that was part of the reason why there was so much confidence in the change rooms when we got to Melbourne. I'd also say that my memories of that night, I mean, the matches go very quickly. There's other players in the room who might have better memories than me. But Malcolm's son had done a playlist of songs, tracks that we used to listen to on the bus on the way to games. And Phil Collins' In the Air Tonight, which was an 80s hit, used to be in, and there's a drum solo in it which really gets you going and you feel like you can burst through the other side when that hits. Whenever that comes on the radio for me, I'm instantly taken back to that bus, which was silent travelling to the ground. You know when your team's nervous because nobody's prepared to talk on the bus on the way to the ground. But the bus was silent, the song was playing, and it clearly was one of the best moments of my life. But not just that, you talked about the fact it was the first time games from Down Under were shown live on the television in the UK. So I've met so many people over their life who've enjoyed great days. It was a Friday morning, and I know that my brother and my dad, like you and many others, took time off work, organised a bit of a barbecue in the back garden in the hope that maybe we would win. And so I think what's made it so special for so many people is that there were thousands at the ground, and there were also so many watching over here who managed to enjoy what was one of the greatest days for the Great Britain Lions.